What are reparations? Merriam-Webster.com defines reparations as a repairing or keeping repair, the act of making amends, offering expiation or giving satisfaction for a wrong or injury, something done or given as amends or satisfaction, the payment of damages. 246 years after the first African slaves were brought to the Jamestown, Virginia colony, General Sherman confiscated 400,000 acres of Confederate land with the intention of redistributing it among former slaves freed after the Emancipation Proclamation. Under Special Field Order No. 15, Union soldiers were able to settle 40,000 freed slaves onto this land. If upheld, Special Field Order No. 15 would have been the first step towards reparations to 4 million slaves freed after the 14th Amendment. Not surprisingly, the order was overturned by President Andrew Johnson, and the land was given back to its previous owners. The 40,000 former slaves occupying that land were forced to leave. The 4 million former slaves were never compensated for their role in making America an economic powerhouse and the richest nation on the planet. Fast forward another 155 years, and it'll be easy to see that the descendants of these former slaves are still in the struggle against racism and economic disparity. Now called African Americans, many of us are victimized daily under the government, from a lower municipal level all the way up to the federal level, with every branch of government being complicit. The conversation of reparations among the children of American slavery is long overdue. And with the presidential election overlooming, a part of this conversation should include a prerequisite criteria of any politician courting the African American vote. Furthermore, an understanding needs to be made on what qualifies one to receive any reparations that would be issued. This is a specific case based on the claim that freed slaves were never compensated. Instead, former slaves and their descendants have been marginalized and placed into an underclass by the United States government. Much legislation has been passed with the intention of leveling the playing field, but that has done little to reverse or counteract the effects of racism on the so-called African American. Another part of this conversation should be about what form reparations should take, with some historians and economists calculating monetary reparations for slavery to be worth trillions. Should this be some kind of big money grab? Keep in mind that when this type of money is involved, personal motivations take priority over the bigger picture. Imagine a handful of so-called leaders walking away from negotiations with millions or billions of dollars while the masses are left with only thousands. Should reparations be a set of privileges granted to us by state and federal governments, like tax exemption or free education? Should it include a provision for a monetary trust to be created with financial payments from corporations with its origins in slavery that also profited from slavery? The Navajo Nation recently put in a bid to purchase Remington, a bankrupt gun manufacturer. They offered to buy Remington for $525 million. This money would have came from a $3.3 billion investment trust they controlled. This trust was created when the Navajo Nation won a lawsuit against Kerr McGee for $217 million. This was reparations for the illegal use of tribal lands by Kerr McGee. School children around the world are learning about the injustices of slavery in the United States, and also about the countless atrocities and inequalities that occurred against African Americans after slavery was abolished. Reparations would be a beautiful conclusion to the story of institutionalized racism in America. But a recent poll reveals that 68% of Americans were not in favor of reparations for the descendants of African slaves. What do you think? Please leave your comments below. All views are welcome. I only request that you refrain from the use of profanity or name calling. Children may be watching. If you find this video educational, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching.